Hello, everyone. Welcome to the RigER webinar. So today we're going to talk about the oilfield services in the RigER software, and we'll cover all essential parts of our software that are specifically dedicated to the field services and managing the field employees. Before we start, let me introduce myself just real quick. My name is Gleb Kobits, and I'm VP of Operations in RigER. For those who are new to our company and our software, I just want to highlight in a couple of seconds that we are pretty active in the LinkedIn social network. We are posting a lot of new updates and news about our activities and our trips around the North America. So please stay tuned and subscribe to our LinkedIn page. Just follow us and stay connected with us. So today's agenda of the webinar is to give you an understanding how the service operations can be tracked and maintained in the RigER software. So we are going to cover the service job concept, basic workflow of the service operations in the software. We'll also talk about the service item in RigER, how you can set up your own list of services that you do. We will cover in details different tools and automation capabilities of the software that allows you to run operations smoothly. I'm going to shade a little bit of light on this special and new module that we're currently developing for our customers. We call it Service Calls module. So just keep up with us and you'll see what it will be. And we'll definitely cover some of the oilfield service reports in the software that allows you to analyze your activities throughout the period of time and make your business decisions. And definitely at the end of this webinar, we will answer all your questions that you may have during this presentation. So please feel free to submit your questions through the control panel that is available in your Zoom screen. It is either Q&A section or you can send us just a quick question in the chat window, so we'll be able to address it. And I also want to introduce you to our product and project manager, Arsen Hartnan. So he will be helping me today with running this webinar. All right, so let me do that. Just a quick introduction of our company and the software for those who are new to our platform. Our company named Belkasoft is actually located in Calgary, Alberta. And we have been working in this industry, in the software development and digitalization industry for more than 7 years already. So our company's main focus and actually the vision is to make the oilfield industry paperless and to provide this solution to the companies that will give them opportunity to get out of the papers. And also, custom solution is also pretty frequent and pretty common situation for most of our customers, because our software is pretty customizable, and our platform that the software is built on allows us to build customized solutions for different kind of needs and requirements. And also, we do integrate our software with third-party providers, service providers or software providers, because we understand the importance of connecting different softwares between each other and just transfer information smoothly between them, and giving the ability to customers and to users exchange information smoothly and seamlessly between different data sources. Our company operates globally, but the main area of our customers is North America for sure. So we have lots of customers down in the United States. It's mainly in the Texas state, but also it covers the North, South Dakota, Wyoming, Colorado, Oklahoma, and others. We also have a distributed support department located both in Houston in Texas state, and also in Europe, in Dublin. And our software development team is also allocated between different continents. It's both North America and European continent. So we are a global company, but our main focus of operations is here in the North America. So RigER product family consists of different products that are designed mainly for different kind of types of equipment and types of services in the oil field. But basically, our main and flagship product is called RigER Cloud Oilfield, because the RigER system is hosted in the server, in the cloud server, so you can access this application in your database from literally anywhere where you have the internet connection. And also, you can use these. You can use our software on the mobile devices that are available both on the Android and iOS platforms. But if you'll see, we provide different products for different kind of equipment. It can be surface equipment, telecom equipment that is attached to the oilfield rig. It's a pressure control type of equipment, flowback services, waste management, rental equipment, distribution, and definitely downhole tools. Configuration is also available in our solution. So thank you for our existing clients, and we're proud of our clients because they're prominent players in their niches and their industries, and we are supporting our clients as much as we can, and we are thankful to our customers that they provide us with their expertise and knowledge about the operations in the industry. So thank you very much to our customers. Okay, now let's dive into the basic and general topic of this presentation. So, and I'm going to cover the service job concept just in the details. So basically, what is the oilfield service job in our software understanding, in our workflows? So everything starts with the client's call when we receive, or our customer receives a call from the customer or email requesting some kind of services at their location. And the salesperson or operations manager or dispatcher will be able to build a quote for the customer to show them what kind of prices they're going to charge them with. So after that, once the quote has been approved by the customer, now we can generate service tickets or field tickets, how we call it usually. So in these tickets, you'll be able to track all your services, quantities, and employees. And when the tickets are done, or when the client is requesting the invoice, the accountant can generate an invoice, and this document will accommodate all the information from both rental service agreement and field tickets, because it takes prices from the rental service agreement and all the quantities of the services provided, and maybe even parts or materials that have been supplied to the customer. It will be taken from the tickets. So this information flows to the invoice, and invoice calculates automatically total amounts, applies taxes, and you are ready to send your invoice to the customer. What is the rental service agreement document in the RigER software? It is basically the starting point of the whole job, because we specify what kind of services we're going to provide and for whom, meaning the client, and where we are going to provide these services, meaning the location. Sometimes it can be also a rig or even well. And we can also specify the start date, end date of the job, and definitely fill out the list of the services with prices. Prices can be automatically pulled up from the price list that you preset for the whole range of customers, or You can also build a client-specific price list, which we call price agreements, and that will be also automatically applied to the customer jobs. So for the service operations, we have a specific type of rental service agreement with which we call Oilfield Service, or when you see it on that screen, OFS. So that type of rental agreement allows you to have just services and parts in your agreement, and don't have any rental equipment or rental side of the business. So that is specifically designed for services and parts. When you're done with the rental service agreement, now you come to the next point, which is the actual service ticket, or it can also be a fill ticket type of document. So in the service ticket, you see that those services that you have preset on the rental service agreement, they will be automatically transferred to the service ticket, so you don't have to fill them out once again. It will be automatically filled out for you. And also you select a field technician for this particular ticket who will be doing this job actually. And also the RigER system has an ability to track and to assign multiple people per one ticket. So the ticket in RigER, it's a document that reflects the actual provision of the services as of particular date and even time of the day. When the job is done, or in the middle of the job, you can invoice the customer also. So if it's, say, weekly invoicing or some kind of semi-monthly or monthly billing cycle, so you can generate invoice throughout the job at any given moment of time. And when you generate a service invoice, the system automatically calculates and takes all the services provided through the tickets. And as I already said, it takes prices from the rental service agreement. So everything is accommodated here on the invoice. The total amounts are calculated, and tax scheme is applied. So the only main job of the accountant is just to check that everything is correct, accurate, and the dates are good as well. So we can print out the service invoice print form and send the customer for the payment. Now let's talk a little bit about the general setup in the system, how the service items look in RigER, and I will pass my microphone to Arsen.
Yes, thank you, Gleb. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Now, Gleb has just walked you through the general process of providing a service, starting from the rental service agreement, continuing with the service ticket, and at the end of the day, generating the invoice. But before you can start the rental service agreement and actually the whole flow, you need to have the service defined in the RigER platform, in the RigER database. So the service itself is just a type of an item in RigER, and I have stressed this a lot, but it's worth to mention that item is everything in RigER that has the capability to generate revenue and needs to be tracked. So service is just another type of an item, and we just create an item card. We just open up an item card and create a new service with it just by selecting the type of service, as you can see on your screen for the landfill charge by ton service. Now, alongside the name and type, we also have different unit measure classifiers in the system, which you can set, and you can either use a daily or a foot hour each, and any kind of unit of measure classifier that you need to. So let's move on to the next slide, and we will see how we define the flexibility of our services. Now, in the job cycle, you know that there is a lot of services that you can have in a particular business or a niche, and you can actually use different unit of measurements for the same service as long as you have a sufficient difference in the service name. So you can have a cleaning service which can be defined either by a unit like each, or by hour, or daily, or something else that you deem to. So the system itself is flexible, and it allows you to define different types and units of measure for any kind of a service that you can apply to your daily job needs. Now let's move on to the automation part of our webinar, and I will pass the microphone to Gleb to start this section.
Thank you very much, Arsen. So, right, let's move on to the next thing that will also actually show you how we can utilize other features of the RigER software in terms of the oilfield services tracking and management. So, as I already said, you can pre-build the crew list. So the list of employees who will be doing this particular ticket or this particular list of services. And for this purpose, you're going to use the crew tab in each ticket that you may have. In the crew tab, you're able to set and specify the number of hours for each employee that can be also billable to the customer, or you can specify the payable hours to employees. Also, you can see here's the option to set the per diem amount or bonus amount for a particular ticket if you have this in your compensation schemes. So that can be also entered either by employee or by dispatchers who decide, or operations managers who decide what kind of additional charges need to be applied to the job or paid to an employee. And also the next tab, as you can see, is the time tab, where you can track the general time of this job or this ticket. So that's the start and end time of the job. And also you can track the location time when the employees arrives to the location or leaves the location, and mileage can be tracked as well in miles or kilometers for Canada. So the system calculates automatically the total hours for this ticket, and all this information can then be pulled to the report, and the whole report will show you all the jobs, all the tickets for all employees, or you can manipulate this report in order to be able to see what kind of hours are assigned or have been recorded by different people. But we will cover the reports section a little bit later in this webinar. Next tool that is very useful and usually used by the dispatchers, it's a dispatch field technician dashboard, where we can see all our field technicians allocated by different departments. Departments meaning your different locations. So if you have multiple shops, you can set them as departments and allocate people to different departments. So you will see field technicians by departments, and also it allows you to see the workload of each employee on the time map. So we can show on that screen, you can see the period of 1 week, but we can also extend this period to 1 month. So you will see for each employee what kind of tickets they got for a specific date. And in this way, you can manage your employees' workload. So another tool that allows you to generate tickets in a faster manner, it's a schedule for the field tickets or delivered tickets. So if you have a delivered ticket service, which allows you to have both services and rental units, and you're going to use it for some period of time, say you provide the service every second day or once a week or a couple of times a month. So you can preset the schedule on which date you're gonna have these kind of tickets. And once you set this schedule, then you can run the schedule for the delivery tickets and say for what kind of period you need to generate the tickets. So the system will do it automatically for you. Another type of tickets are field tickets, and also field tickets are different from the delivered tickets service in the way that they have only service part of the job and not rental units. So if you provide a pure service to your customers, please feel free to use the field tickets, and also you're able to set the schedule for the field tickets. So if you need to generate 10 tickets for the next 10 days, say, per se, you can do this using this tool.
Now, the next two automation tools that we are going to talk about do not directly relate to the service industry, but since we have a service ticket that allows us to include also rental equipment inside, we might be having the need to move the equipment from one client location to another and provide a service alongside with it. So the rig movement node is designed exactly for that purpose, and this automation tools allows us to directly do all the operation necessary just within one window and by applying a single click and a few lines of configuration. So it will allow us either to select a new client and a current location invoice, which means that we will pass our equipment from one client side to a new client side, and we can generate a closing location invoice, or we can do a between existing locations configuration, which is the third checkbox as you can see on your screen at the left part. And this will allow us to move the equipment between two locations that we already have ongoing jobs for. And on the fourth configuration type of this rig movement node, we have the partial equipment move, which will allow us to leave some pieces of equipment on the first location, on the ongoing location, and to select some pieces or actual unit numbers, serial numbers that we can move to a new location or an existing location. So we just create this configuration. We click on the generate button down below, and it creates all the necessary documents in the system and ties and mappings and becomes active. So alongside with this rig movement node, we can actually provide a service too and tie this service within the same RSA. So let's move to the next node, which is the rental break node. And this automation tool is also not directly related to services, but we might need to provide our client with a rental break, and the need arises in the oil field frequently, as you may already know. And this type of a node will allow us to set the type of the rental break, which can be either full if we know the start date and end date of the rental break, or we can use just the start type and define the end type later on. So this will allow us to set either the pieces of equipment either to a full rental break, or to even have a standby fee charged by either percentage or an actual amount rate defined in this exact document. Let's move on to the next document, which would be the equipment swap. And the equipment swap is stressed here because one of the ways we can do equipment swap in RigER is just to use the delivery ticket of type service. Now in this ticket, excuse me, you can see that we have the rental units tab, and inside this tab we can select the actual unit number that we would like to return from the client location for the swapping needs, and we can deliver another serial number of the same unit directly right underneath the returning line. And just within this ticket we can just perform a swap and define all the necessary details about this swapping operation. Moving on to the next slide is the expense claim. Now, expense claim is directly related to several services within one document. So first of all, we need to have defined services like the meal, travel, hotel, other in the system in RigER database. Then we will need to map these services to a particular existing services in the system. And we can generate the expense claim for the purpose of providing with an invoice to our client for the expenses that occurred during the job. So we can create the expense claim by accessing the Oilfield Rentals menu, and the purpose for this is because the expense claim is more intended to the field personnel, and they usually do not have access to anything else except the Oilfield Rentals menu. So they open up the expense claim document. They input all the necessary information, starting by the date, then moving to the note maybe, if there is a need to provide more details about the actual expense claim. Then we select the vendor, the invoice number for the vendor, and provide the details for the services and the price details for the services. Now, the next logical step inside from the expense claim document would be just to click on the generate after the expense claim has been approved, and to generate a service ticket, which will allow us to further generate an invoice with these amounts included inside it. Next, let's move on to the next slide and see what we can do about the email notifications. Now, as Gleb has already talked about, one type of service tickets is the field tickets that we use, and they contain only services inside. And we can actually set up email notifications just for field tickets. And on your screen, you can see a blank setups page in which we have selected the document as a field ticket. And we have different, as you may know, we have different statuses for all the documents in the RigER system. And by selecting this particular status, we define the trigger that will trigger the email notifications and will send actual emails to the recipients that we define. So we can select the status, then we can also select to whom to send this email notification, either to document author or to the client or the field technician or maybe other information. And we can also include attachments if we need to. We can also include the print form of the document. We will select the internal recipients, obviously, for this email notification. And internal recipients means the internal RigER users. And we can also set the email subject, and upon the trigger of this change, meaning let's say the field ticket is created and its status has been changed to processing, as you can see as it's selected. When the status is changed to processing, an email notification would be generated, and the recipients defined would receive a new email stating that a field ticket has changed its status to processing. Next, yeah.
Right. Thank you very much, Arsen. So I'm gonna now switch the gears a little bit and talk about the new module that we are developing right now, because for the past, I would say, past year, we've been receiving lots of requests from our existing clients and questions, and sometimes in requirements on the question of how we can track all our incoming calls from the customers or emails, or having some kind of troubleshooting ticketing system maybe to manage all these requests and proceed with them in a smooth and time and fashion manner. So it's not a secret that we develop our software also taking into account all our clients' suggestions and ideas. So we consider them and we see on all the requirements if we can accommodate them in our software and align them with our general software development roadmap. So it was decided at the beginning of this year so that we will develop a new module in the system that we will call service calls. And that module actually will allow companies to track and build a list of all the clients' requests and then proceed with them in the workflows. So what I'm talking about is the module that will have a number of new documents and also dashboards and also some specific settings that will allow to record or register all the incoming requests from customers. They will be registered as single lines items, which will have client request type or project indications. So you can build your own list of projects or request types. So that will be a flexible system that you will set it up for you specifically. And also every single service call will have a description, a priority field, status field, and the deadline field. So you will be able to prioritize these service calls and also set deadlines for your employees to perform these service calls requests. Definitely each service call request will have responsible person, and notifications will be also available to be sent automatically to a responsible person. So if you have some kind of dispatcher or operations person in the system in your company, that receives all the incoming calls, they will be registering this in the service call module, and then notifications to the responsible person will flow automatically and will be sent automatically by the system. So, and also service calls module will have to do tasks. So in each service call, you can specify what's the next step, what you need to do with these incoming request. Either it will be a sales request, so you can generate a rental service agreement or a new quote, or if it's an existing job and you need to provide some kind of service to the customer, or to do a swap of the equipment or maintain equipment. So that also can be triggered by the service call type of record, and the necessary documents will be generated. And definitely you will have a dashboard available for managing all these service calls and filter them out, maybe sort them out for some kind of types of information, and see them throughout the period of time, say what we have for the past week, what has flown to this week. So you can better manage these the whole list of your service calls on the active dashboard that will allow you to change parameters of every service call on one screen. So we're gonna complete this module and present it in our newer version 7.5 Calgary, which will be presented and released in June 2020 on the Energy Show conference here in Calgary. So please stay tuned and follow us up with these newest updates. And if you will need to use this module right away after it will be released, or you intend to be like some kind of pilot projects on the testing mode or better testers, we can also provide it to you, so you will see how it works and then decide how you can utilize it better in your operations. Now let's talk a little bit about the oilfield service reports and how they can help you understand what's going on in your operations.
All right, now in RigER, we have a fair amount of reports that are connected somehow to services part of the industry and the operations. So let's move on and start by describing the employee hours reports that we utilize in RigER. So this report actually shows by employee what type of work has been done for which client, and it actually shows the tickets exactly. And we can double click on the ticket and dive deeper and drill into the ticket and see what job has been done in more detail. And we can also see the payable, the billable, the regular, overtime, and per diem hours on this report alongside with the bonus. And at the bottom of the report, we have the total amounts. So it gives an idea for us to have the actual hours for a particular employee, because this report also can be filtered either by an employee or by a client or by a department and a location. So let's move on to the next slide, which is the Oilfield Service Report, which is a little bit revised. And it's a report that will allow us to see information for a particular service grouped by a particular service, including the rig and location information, alongside with the tickets that have been used to perform this particular service with the prices and quantities. So on your screen, you can see, for example, that we had a cleaning service on Horton 77 location, and the tickets are defined as follow on the next 4 columns, and the prices and the quantities are also defined. If we had a discount, it would have been available here, and the total amounts are available at the right part and as a grand total at the bottom of the report. The next report is the Oilfield Daily Activity, and this report is exactly what it sounds like. It's going to give us an idea about the Oilfield Daily Activity on a predefined or selected date, as you can see on the top left right hand corner of the report. It can also be filtered by a client or a service or a location or a department, field ticket, or a business line event. So this report just shows more detailed information about a particular service that has been done and can be grouped differently, as already stated. Moving on to the next report, which is the Field Technician Status History Report. This report allows us to see the history of the field technician statuses that we have in the system, whether the field tech that was either working or was available, and if he was working, what documents were connected to that particular job, and to which location that those documents are assigned or the field technician has been assigned to. Moving on to the next report, this is the unbilled service report, which is a new report, fairly new report in our system. Alongside, some of you may already know that we have different types of unbilled reports, like the unbilled revenue report. And this is the intent of this report particularly is to show us all the services that have not been billed to the client yet, or we missed somehow. So the report is grouped by the client. Then we can see the rental service agreement and the service ties, and by each service we have the pricing, and at the right part of the report and at the bottom of the report we have the total amounts of we have the total amounts of prices that we have missed. So let's move on to the next report, which is the expense claim report. As we just discussed a few minutes ago, the expense claims documents in the system. Now, this report will allow us to see all the expense claims, just more detailed information and a broader picture, and it will allow us to either filter it by time period or an employee or a client, department, RSA, or location. So it just gives us a picture of all the expense claims that we have in the system. So, yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you very much, Arsen. We've come to the Q&A session of our presentation, and we've covered pretty much a lot of information today during this presentation. So now that's your turn to ask us if you have any questions. So please feel free to submit it to us. In the meantime, let me just take a look at what we've got as of this moment. And I have one question coming from Patrick. So Patrick is asking, can field technician generate a ticket in the mobile application?
You want to take it, Leb?
Yes, please.
Okay, so the short answer to this question is no, but let me explain that. We have different type of mobile applications, and depending on the type of the mobile application and the permission level of the field technician, we can have the ability for the field technician to generate a ticket from within his mobile application. Now, if we are talking about the field application, the mobile oil field application that we use, the yellow app, let's call it this way. The yellow app intends to allow the field personnel to operate on the existing tickets that have been assigned to them. So in that application, the field technician will not be able to create a ticket. But if we allow the field technician to have a little bit more access to some other documents and to another app, which let's say is the mobile oilfield white app, this application will allow our field technician to generate any type of tickets in the RigER platform.
Okay, good. Thank you very much. And the next question that came up just recently is about the quoting, I think, the services. So John is asking, does your software allow to build some sort of services package?
Well, yes, we have different packaging mechanisms inside RigER, and yeah, one of those mechanisms is exactly called packages, and you can utilize that mechanism and build several packages, and build a package that includes several types of services or several services. So, short answer, yes.
Right. Okay. Thank you. And another question is about the using the reports. So can we export reports to Excel spreadsheets?
Most definitely, yes. We can export most of our reports to Excel spreadsheets, and about 90% of our reports have two versions each, and that being either the regular version or a flat version. The regular version will have a different layers of combination and a different hierarchy, and the flat version of the same report will be just optimized to directly, let's say, copy and paste to Excel or other spreadsheet software that you use. But alongside with that, we also utilize the export to Excel functional, and most reports will be easily exported to Excel for you to further operate on.
Right, thank you. And another thing that I wanted to add here is just Arsen is completely right that you can export the reports into Excel and then massage data in there, but also you have an ability through the email notifications or email reporting tool to export and send your reports to any interested person. So if someone needs to receive reports on a timely basis, say every morning or once a week, so you can preset this email reporting schedule, and then the system will automatically sends out these reports to people that you specify. And also it can be external users. Say you need to send a report about the equipment staying at the location or services provided for the past week to your customer. You're also able to send these automatic reports from within the RigER system. Okay, so I don't see any other questions on my list right now. So we can then move on, and just I want to highlight just a few slides about our upcoming events where our team will be presenting RigER software, or will be just attending these conferences or exhibitions. So in the first half of this year, we'll be in Fort Worth on April 6th and 8th on Doug Perman Basin Conference and Exhibition. But before that, we will be in Midland on March 25-26. So if anyone is planning to attend these shows, we will be glad to meet with you just to chat about our applications and about something else in the oilfield industry. And in the next, in the second half of the 2020 year, we will be in Houston on NG Oil and Gas Summit and other exhibitions, as you can see on this screen. So if you're going to attend this, we'll be glad to connect with you and just to meet with you. On that note, I would wrap up this session, and I just want to say thank you for being with us today. If we haven't answered some kind of questions, or if you have any requests for demo of our software, please feel free to reach out to us, and we will definitely do this for you. So you can visit our website, RigER.us, submit your demo request, and we'll contact you right away, or just send us a quick email at demo@RigER.us, and we will be in touch with you as well. Again, thank you very much for today's webinar and being with us today. So let's stay in touch, follow us on LinkedIn, and sign up for our next webinars to get more insights about the RigER software. We'll see you next week. Thank you and goodbye.